Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Gretchen Casey Show, where I talk to real people in the field of real estate who are not only experts, but they're very generous and kind to share their ideas, their wisdom, their experience with us here. And the goal of the show is for you to gain some information and tips that help you reach your goals in owning real estate and take some of the guesswork out of what to do and who to call when you need help in the process. And today I have Dionne Allen, Michelle Tiebo, and Shavaughn DeLacour with me, and they are three of the members of the Red Shoe Home team at Keller Williams Energy. And I first met this team working together with them. They were representing a buyer, and I was providing that mortgage. So that was our first time working together, and it went really well, and it was a really great experience for me. So I was pleased to have that happen, and we met again when I held an event earlier in the year. It was a women's financial empowerment event, and they attended and were so supportive and vocal and networking and adding to the presentation with their knowledge and their input. So I was really thrilled with that and grateful to meet these women and form some new relationships for working together. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and they'll talk a little bit about what they do and how they help buyers and sellers.
Well, thank you so much, Gretchen, for having us on your show here today. And I have to say, when you talked about your event, I just got like goosebumps because I love the women empowerment stuff so much that I literally just got goosebumps because it was a really great event. And thank you for inviting us to that. Okay, so I'm Dionne Allen. I am the original founding member of Red Shoe Homes. I've been selling real estate for 8 years, just over, and I have it was in 2016 is when I decided it was time to, start a team and, to get to a little bit of work-life balance back as well. And also because I have this envision of having something that's shared with, a whole bunch of women and work and how we actually evolve and take care of people and whatnot. And then I've got these two amazing, lovely ladies here that are incredible women. I'm blessed every day for knowing them. And I tell you what, Red Shoe Homes wouldn't be the same if I didn't have the two faces right here for sure. And plus we also have other members as well, but they're here on the call. So yeah. So I guess, Michelle, if you want to tell them a little bit about yourself, that would be.
Yep, for sure. So hi, I'm Michelle Tiebo. I'm actually an Oshawa native, and I moved back here 3 years ago. I was living in Toronto. I've been selling real estate as well since 2012. I got licensed, so 8 years too. And I was a solo agent at the time when I was living in Toronto. And it's a bit of a lonely biz. So when I actually came to Oshawa, I looked to join a team, and Dionne, and we were a great fit. And Siobhan actually joined at around the same time. So the three of us have been on the team since 2017. Is that correct, Siobhan?
Yes.
You and I have been on, since 2017. So so I work primarily as a buyer rep, and I met Gretchen. It was Gretchen and I that worked together on a deal that we did for one of my clients, and he and I both couldn't say enough great things about you. I find that the way that we do our business is very similar. You put your whole heart and soul out there and do everything that you can, and that's sort of the way, that's kind of our mantra as well. Our clients end up becoming our friends at the end of it, and I just really felt like that you really cared, and that's something that obviously we do too. So anyways, that's my story, and I will put you over to Siobhan now.
Hi everyone, I'm Siobhan. I'm a buyer rep on the Red Shoe Home team, and like Michelle said, we started on the team in 2017. That was actually my first gig as a realtor. I just was licensed that year, and up until then had been home with my girls, but real estate is something I've always wanted to do, always had a passion for, and was so excited to finally get into it. So I'm loving it. I absolutely love working with first-time buyers and people just breaking into the home ownership market. So I've I've really had a great time so far, and I've learned so much from Michelle and Dionne, and I'm so happy to be a part of the Red Shoe Home team. We have a great time together too.
That's
Yeah.
important.
We're definitely like family, that's for sure.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Excellent. Good. Well, thank you guys for that introduction. And maybe tell me a bit about what you do as a team that's unique or special as realtors and with helping your customers.
Okay, so I'll take that one. One of our things is we have a vision of how we treat our clients and also ourselves with integrity and kindness and whatnot. What we do is we actually, when we meet someone, we relationship build with them. We don't want to just be like in and out like a number, like treat them that as a number or anything like that. We really want to take care of them and their needs. So one of the things that, you know, I mainly work with sellers. I very rarely ever work with buyers, only if someone's not available or maybe it was really close to me. But on the sell side, our value add is, you know, we get in there, we are hands-on, we're full service. We have a concierge service that we provide for our clients as well. And the concierge service is a list of, you know, people that we've worked out that we think are truly important to the transaction and might be able to help you get listed. One would be someone like yourself, Gretchen, a painter, a cleaner, like things like that. All people that we've have really great relationships that we trust and would use our own or give to our own parents, for example. You'll find us, you know, helping pack once in a while when needed. You'll find us, you know, whatever we can do to help out and going through those pictures of memories with our clients and, you know, really getting in there. We also have our own staging company. So we don't have any extra costs on top of what our commission is or anything like that. Everything's included. We keep a house staged for the entire length of the actual listing. You know, in some markets, this market not so much, but in some markets, it can sit for 2 to 3 months. So we want that house to look the exact same as it did the first day that we went in there on the market. We do incredible marketing, social media marketing. We do incredible advertising. We have photos and videos. I think like our video, the way we do our videos in our homes is super important because especially right now with people doing more online shopping before going out, we're walking you through and giving you an experience of the home as opposed to still shots. Or I know some people use the Matterports, but people get a little dizzy with that, but we actually walk you right through that home. So I feel like, and then on the buy side, I feel like we're just, you know, I guess we're there to take care of them just as much. It's still taking care. It's all about relationships for us and communication and knowledge and stuff like that too.
Okay, so I have a question. So things probably might have been done differently before COVID, and then now with COVID, there's a process, and now we're sort of exiting COVID. So maybe I'm throwing in a question I didn't tell you about, but maybe just tell a little bit about, you know, just as of today, what's the experience like compared to pre-COVID with the buyer, buyer or seller, just a couple of differences that they can expect.
So I'll talk towards the seller side and then maybe Michelle, you can do the buyer side. So when COVID hit, we were doing virtual. Siobhan and I actually did one together, a virtual listing appointment. So we were talking with someone, they were walking us through the house. That's unnecessarily at this time, but if we ever needed to, heaven forbid, we don't have to go back to something like that where we actually have the knowledge and the way to do that. When I now go and see, I go for a listing, I actually come in and I wear my mask, I have gloves, which is hard. You have to really smile with your eyes because when you're talking with somebody, because I really feel like I need to like get a clear one so people can see I'm smiling. But we don't touch anything. We let the homeowner walk us through. We stay back the social distancing, and we don't sit down at the tables anymore. Now, once we do, we walk through the house, we get a good feel. We talk a little bit, then we come home and maybe we'll do a Zoom call or a phone, whatever the clients actually want to do. Zoom calls is basically the best way because then we can connect with them eye to eye, right? So that's how we're doing it on the sell side. Michelle?
Yeah, so as far as the buy side goes, and Siobhan, you can attest to this as well, we have a lot more paperwork now that we have to fill out. you know, which is good though, because it's just basically disclosures from ourselves and from our buyer stating, you know, they haven't traveled out of country, they haven't been in contact with anyone. So that's all filled out beforehand. When we're going to show the homes, there's not any overlapping appointments. The appointments are limited to 30 minutes. Some people even limit them to 15 minutes. Again, you know, I have big box of Clorox wipes, so I go in there first, you know, open up the lockbox, wipe it all down, wipe everything, go in the house, open up turn on all the lights if they're not already on, using, you know, my wipes, and asking the buyer not to touch anything, of wearing masks and gloves. And it's a little bit different because we actually go through the house a lot faster. So you really have to be a lot more aware when you're going through the house, especially if your buyer loves it and wants to put in an offer. It's also a bit more difficult for us as the buyer agent, because a lot of buyers have what we call tells, you know, if they really like the house. So if they like the house, they'll linger, they'll want to sit down on a couch. And, you know, obviously that's not happening now in COVID times. So, you know, we have our discussions afterwards. We leave the house and then speak about, you know, if they like it or, you know, what we're going to do moving forward.
Okay. And are people allowed to take videos of a house they're looking at? I don't know if that's okay, or is that against privacy rules?
It's against privacy rules.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
we would need to ask first if they wanted to, but most agents are being really smart and putting really good videos up beforehand. So,
okay,
you know, my clients are going, I ask my client, first of all, to drive by the house to see if they like the area, if they like the outside of the house, you know, to watch the video. We do a lot more research now before we actually bring people into sellers' homes, because I don't want to bring anyone into a seller's home unnecessarily if, you know, it wouldn't work for them.
excellent. Yeah, that's all great information that I had no idea about all of that. So thank you very much for that great information. So right now, because of COVID and lots of things happening, what would you say to a potential buyer wondering, is it a good time to buy or to get ready to buy? Or should they do that, or should they wait a bit? I get a lot of questions around that, and you guys are more knowledgeable than myself as realtors and being right in the market. What would you say?
Well, we all say buy now, right, guys? Like,
Yeah.
And the reason why is because honestly, Durham region is one of the lowest places that you can purchase property, and we're only going up. Even in 2017, we went down a little bit. Yeah, we did. We definitely had a reset in the market, but we've come within a year and a half, we came back up and over what we were back in 2017. And that was with the stress test changing as well. And buyers will find the way to, even if CMA, I know what's happened with CMHC just happened, and Genworth isn't following, but if the whole thing went, buyers are going to find a way to shop. This is the way they did with that stress test. They figure it out, right? So we don't foresee anything like dropping in Durham region, or that being told, even Northumberland and like the Kawarthas, because we also work in those areas too. And we only see it going up. And even like last year, in May, we are actually 4.7% higher in price point than we were last year. So even with COVID, we are already gone up 4.7%. So on a $500,000 home, that's like, I don't know, well, let's say call it 5, that's $25,000 difference. So do we wait or do we get in now? I tell, you know what, if you want to buy and you want to get in, I think we all are on the same page, is get in now while you can. I mean, I'm fearful. I have a 22-year-old daughter, and I'm like looking at her going, we need to buy you something and do something now, because looking at the house, even condo costs, especially in Durham region, everything's over $500,000 now. You know, it's very rare to find anything under that. So
yeah, and I'm finding more and more people buying either with parents as co-signers, or boyfriend, girlfriend, different things like that. Is that, I know in my world, I'm seeing a lot of certain types of things, but what are you guys seeing with that?
Well, Siobhan, you work more with first-time buyers. You could probably answer that one.
Yeah, we actually held a first-time home buyer seminar back in February, and it was interesting. One of the 4 of the people at the seminar were sisters and their partners, and they were considering buying a home as the 4 of them because doing it on their own wasn't an option. So yeah, that's a whole different situation for sure. And it makes sense, you know, if you know you can live with someone happily and everybody will get along, it's a great way to get into the market. And, you know, hopefully by the time you sell, everybody's ready to move up on their own and has built a bit of equity in the home. So definitely seeing that. It's not super popular, but we have had encountered that in the last 6 months for sure.
And I know there was someone that was even trying to do something with their own daughter as well. Like the same, it was the same
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know, trying to figure out their, you know, their financial situation, what they can afford, and their affordability goes up a lot higher if they actually bring on their younger daughter into that. One of the things that we were taught recently, actually, because we're not lawyers, but we actually have a great lawyer that we do a lot of business with, and she came in and let us know about cohabitation agreements. So when doing these things, it's super important for us to let our own clients know, hey, have you talked to a lawyer? If you're going to be buying a house with your brother, your sister, your mother, your aunt, your friend, you should have a cohab agreement in place. So should somebody want out of that earlier, you know what the intent is there right up front. So yeah.
And I'm also personally seeing adding a suite or adding 2 suites to existing properties so that it can better accommodate and then also have more value and great resale if they ever want to sell it. So
yeah, anything with a basement apartment flies off the shelf at the moment, even if it's not legal. It's or potential with a basement apartment as well. So because that's like in your world, that really helps them increase their buying power if they can have that.
Yeah, and we can use that rental income for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So I love giving people tips on financial empowerment, which I know you guys do as well. And can you give any tips or tricks on someone buying or selling that you really think can make a difference in their experience as well as the outcome?
Okay, so for sellers, I think that you should always have someone like myself in there. I like to go in and give you pointers and tips on what to do and what not to spend all your money on, because I find a lot of people will waste money on something and be so excited about it, and you're like, oh, that didn't really get you what you're looking for. So having somebody in when you're, even if it's like 6 months beforehand or even a year. I mean, I've gone in for a year prior to give people, you know, pointers on what to do and where to save money and maybe use our concierge service, like I told you guys about, or told you about the, you know, that for me, it's just, you know, get us in there as early as possible because we want you to get the most for your money in the end, right? And then for buyers, we have, these 2 ladies have the most incredible interaction, and buyers like their own buyer guide in a sense where they really take care of them and they walk them through every step of the way. So it doesn't just, you know, it doesn't just start with an interaction. Is we get down and we talk to them, we find out what their needs are, what their wants are. We introduce them to someone like yourself, Gretchen, and saying, you know, like, you got to get pre-approved. It's super important in this market. If we have a relationship with the mortgage agent, that actually helps us as well, because then when we're on the other end making an offer, we can actually say, oh no, we know this is a good deal. We've spoken to the mortgage agent. And every step of the way, there's, you know, a lot of people don't know that they even have the money to buy a house or how to buy a house. We get those people that will call us out of the blue and say, can you afford me some rentals? And I'm like, they're $2,300 a month. What's your current living situation? Right. And they're like, well, you know, I live at home with mom and dad, or, you know, I've been saving, but I just can't do it any longer. And I'm like, well, are you going to spend, you know, $24,000 a year in rental payments, or are you going to actually save that and get into a home? So, you know, starting right from the very beginning, any tips we give them is, you know, let's see what you can do. How do we plan to get you there? You know, maybe it's not right now, but it's in 6 months from now. And then the whole transaction, as the ladies know, is not just as soon as is not over once we've signed the final agreement and signed off on it. We have to continue that relationship all the way to the end, all the way to closing, and then afterwards as well. Because a lot of things always come up during that. So our buying process is, bar none, it's so good. And we really encompass to make people feel secure and knowledgeable themselves. So does anybody else want to say anything towards that?
Just expanding a little bit on that, when we're working with buyers, both Siobhan and I, we really find out, especially if we don't know them prior to, because we meet a lot of buyers, well, we did at open houses, and bring them on as clients, but to really understand what their needs and wants are and what their lifestyle is. So especially with first-time buyers who have never purchased before, we see a lot of Torontonians coming out this way because of affordability. So they're renting in the city, they're living, in a condo, but they want to buy a house or semi or what have you. And, just actually really figuring out what they're going to need. So, do you need a garage because this house doesn't have a garage? Well, no, I've never had a garage before. But yes, now you probably might want to have a garage because you're going to be mowing that lawn out there. Things like that a lot of first-time buyers don't even think about. So we really do try to find out everything that we can about them, what's important to them, and make sure that they aren't, being just jumping and being hasty and buying a house that they're going to outgrow. Or, are you going to have a family? You're a young couple. Are you thinking about having a family? Well, maybe this 2-bedroom house isn't going to be suitable for you, so just things like that. Siobhan, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that you guys covered it. That sounds about right.
Okay, well, that's really great. You guys are very proactive and help people not make big financial mistakes or
blunders.
No buyer's remorse. We're trying to aim for no buyer's remorse.
Yeah, exactly.
Good idea. That's excellent. So what would one last piece of advice be from you guys to Canadians right now?
So funny enough, we were talking about this on a call last week. So, and I love the way Michelle does this and has a take on it. And I think she could explain our advice, because our advice isn't necessarily real estate related. So.
No, it's not. We were talking because all three of us are big travelers. So Siobhan missed a trip Siobhan turned 40 this year, and she had her 10-year anniversary, right? And missed a trip to Jamaica. Dionne had a big trip planned this summer, a big cruise to Italy. So, and I travel. I try to take 4 or 5 trips a year, but we're not foreseeing in the near future that we're going to be crossing any borders or getting on any planes. So I think it's really important for us to really still travel, but pour our money back into Canada. So why not I'm looking into getting an RV and traveling and doing a little bit of traveling in August. I think it's really important to support our Canadian economy at this time. Traveling through Canada, buying locally, thinking about when you're buying products, whether they come from around here or even are Canadian made. So basically just pouring back into our economy, I think, is really important at this time.
I love that advice. Excellent. Well,
we're true Canadians at heart here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So Dionne and Michelle and Siobhan, thank you so much for your time today and introducing yourselves and sharing so much great information with our audience. And I'm really grateful you were here today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having us, Gretchen. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun.